Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Do you want to promote your business on Zambia Blog Talk Radio? Yes, that's right. Live on Zambia Blog Talk Radio. To book your spot, just make a donation by picking from the following categories. To get started, just call or WhatsApp the number on the screen and you'll be good to go. Live on Zambia Blog Talk Radio every Saturday for 1 full month. And it will stay on the recorded shows.
Hi everybody, welcome to the show. It is Saturday, December the 10th. We do appreciate you joining us. Tell a friend, we are on, we are live. ZBTR is on live broadcasting right now, Facebook Live and YouTube, as we are set for an exciting show. Mr. K, how is Lusaka today?
Lusaka is cool. It's great. The weather is good.
All right. Is it raining, shining? Is it cold? What's happening?
So it was raining. So it has the after effects of the rains, which is amazing.
All right.
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Today we're discussing diaspora engagement with the homeland on a political front. I think you'll agree with me, Kasuluba, that the Zambian diaspora has made certain strides in different aspects and areas of life. Today, we're talking about diaspora engagement with in the political arena in a formal way, structured way, where a political party has got chapters across the country. I think we saw it even with the NAREP, with Mr. Chipimo. He was so strong and established. I believe it is in the UK, PF, now Upnd. Now, the difference with the Upnd, as we'll be discussing, we'll be talking to the newly elected leaders, is that the way they got involved in the just past ended elections was just something else and amazing and interesting. Let's not waste time and let's bring up our guest. Joining us this morning is Mr. Evans Chiombwe, who's the newly elected chairperson for the US-Canada Upnd chapter. Is that right, Mr. Chiombwe? Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me on this lovely program. Yes, I am the new chairman, taking over from Mr. Willis Msonda. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll be talking about Mr. Msonda in a few seconds there, and also a gallant Zambian, Mr. Andrew Mwapemwashukeni from Nebraska. I was teasing everybody. I was teasing Andrew. I said, I think you are the only Zambian in Nebraska. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. We are grateful for the opportunity to feature on your program, and we are hopeful that this is just one of the many opportunities.
Yes, sir. So we have a lot of things to talk about and to discuss. Like I have said in my opening introductory remarks, the Zambian diaspora has seen some development where the diaspora is involved politically in a formal structured manner, where a political party has chapters across the country. You were both recently elected as chairperson and secretary general, respectively. Let's discuss the party membership, who can vote and who voted, and how was the voting done. Who's going to respond to that?
I can take that one up. So our community is a community of over 200 members.
Okay, that's a good number right there.
Yeah, it is, and we are all of us Zambians, native Zambians. We are members of the UPND National Party, We are just an extension of the party to the diaspora community, particularly the USA and Canada. So our membership is defined by the national party membership. So if you are UPND and you live in the two countries, then you ascribe to our chapter membership. So with regards to the elections, it was basically based on the membership. You must first of all be Zambian, and then secondly, you must be a member of the chapter to participate in the elections.
All right.
So I can add on, Mr. Moderator. So we do have a constitution, and Section C of the Constitution spells out who participates when the elections are held, and that kind of thing. So Section 3 of the Constitution states that once the term of office is over, the executive appoints an elections chairperson. So that starts the process of the elections. So the executive did come up with somebody to run the elections, independent person from the general membership who was appointed, one of our trusted members. So he was appointed, and then once he was appointed, the committee was completely dissolved. They had no power to do anything. So once he was appointed, then he came up with what we called an elections committee. So that elections committee comprised of about, I think, 7 to 9 people who ran the elections. And so that committee decided the methodology of who was going to run the elections. First of all, like the Secretary General said, there were qualifications, there were qualifiers. Somebody was supposed to be one of our members in good standing. Of course, we do have like thousands of UPND members in Canada and US, but some of them are not like particularly members of the chapter. So that excludes them from the voting block. Only people who are members of this chapter, registered members of this chapter. So there was a registration process. Everybody, it was free and fair, was good. Everybody who wanted to take part in voting had to register through a process that was established by this elections committee under the chairmanship of Pastor Kaluwe. So then they came up with the modalities. Of course, they were communicating at every stage to the group. And during that time, they allowed people who wanted to stand for specific positions to start the campaign. So people started campaigning. We started campaigning. We formed a team, and we went on to campaign, and other people started campaigning. So it was really the first time. Was the first time that we're experiencing this type of democracy over here. Because myself and other people have been in this party, in this structure for over 20 years since we formed it. We've never had such type of elections. Yes, so this was the first time we really implemented good democratic measures. And I think it went well. And I don't know if Mr. Mwape would like to talk further on what methods were used to make sure that
before Mr. Mwape speaks, it's very important for us to learn from you what actually happened, because it speaks to the democratic process of how things are happening amongst ourselves. Because many times people will say, oh, Mwape was elected Secretary General when only 10 or 15 people showed up. You see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So, Mr. Mwape, you wanted to elaborate on how the electoral process actually went, the voting. How was it done?
Right. Like Chair has said, as a chapter, we are still very proud of the way we handled these elections. They were very competitive. We had a huge turnout of about 80% people turned out to vote. and we had 2 people that were running for the chairmanship.
Okay.
At least every position had a minimum of 2 people that
Excellent.
ran for the position. So when the process started, we had the elections committee describe what they wanted us to do at what particular point of time, at what time we needed to engage the general membership in terms of campaigning, at what time we needed to meet with the elections committee, and how the elections were going to be conducted to ensure the integrity and the transparency in the electoral process. So it was up to the electoral committee to determine what system we used for the elections, and they came up with a tool that we used to vote online.
Okay.
It was very transparent tool that the elections committee had access to, and they could see in real time how votes were coming in and who was voted, who had voted and who had not voted. That system allowed a member to only vote once.
Okay.
So you had no chance to go back and vote twice.
Yeah.
And I must say we are very proud of the elections committee and the way they handled the elections.
Excellent.
Other chapters, I think, have so much to learn from our committee, and we have them up for hiring. Just give us money, we'll give them to you to run.
That's good. Now that you mentioned other chapters, how many chapters does the UPND have across the world?
I'm not very sure, but I know in most developed countries we have chapters. We have chapters in the UK, we have chapters in China, we have chapters in India, including African countries like South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania. So we are a huge community around the world. And so one of the things that we are working towards as a new executive is to push so that those of us that are in the diaspora would be able to vote through
that is very important, and we will get to that. That will come on some of the things that you are doing as a chapter.
Right.
What is the significance of a political party like UPND having a structured leadership and chapters in the diaspora?
Thank you. I can take that one up. Now, that's a very, very interesting and intriguing question. Like you said earlier on, it's never been done like this before. So the UPND diaspora group is a large group, like the SG stated. We do have what we call a global group. So the global group is like where all these several chapters are affiliated, like the mother body. But then we do have like the US, Canada, there's Namibia, South Africa, Australia. All those are chapters that are linked up into the global group. So what's the significance? The significance is that once we are organized in this manner, as you all may know, people in the diaspora have specific advantages that people in Zambia do not have. I'll give you an example. We people in the diaspora, most of the people have at least a lot of economic discretion. They have some income which we can donate. So based on that, we were able to group ourselves in the support the party back home. For example, during the elections in 2015, before we come to 2021, there was voters registration. So our chapter organized what we called Obama Operation. That Obama Operation, we were sending money for people to register as voters. So we identified several places in northwestern, western, and other parts of Zambia where we sent money and the people were picked up and they registered to vote. We also sent money to like gas stations where these people, the drivers who are picking them, could go there and fill their tanks free. We were paying from here. And that helped the party a long way. 2021, before the elections, there was a lot that was going on. If you remember those hats that the president was giving out, the red hats to the youths, that was our project. We called it Misepela Project. So we paid for those hats. We paid for those hats, and the president would go and distribute those hats to the youths and other people. 2016, we also had a project where we were procuring T-shirts. If you remember, there were T-shirts that were written here, Pakritente. We purchased a batch of T-shirts from here, put those things up there, and sent them to Zambia. 2021, we bought several bicycles. There are pictures of the president dishing out several bicycles for campaign. So we were heavily involved. We sent those to Zambia. And there was a time when the institutions of learning, high institutions of learning, were closed, just close to elections, and most of the students could not vote. So what did we do? So we gathered out some people, got some money, and transported these students to their voting stations. So we enabled them to participate in the democratic system. So that's how relevant our party has been. We've done so many things. There was, if you remember, HH would go to several radio stations, Radio Ichengelo and all these other radio stations. So we were paying for all those for
that airtime.
Airtime. Okay. So we were purchasing that, and we were paying. This party over here has done so much. So we contributed and we impacted the campaign and the elections in a way that has never done before.
I can add to that.
Yes.
Like Chair Chiombo said, our community is very strategically positioned in the affairs of our country, and we have privileges that people based in Zambia may not have. We've offered ourselves in many ways and in many instances to be of relevance to our country. And what outside the political space, one of those instances was during the PF, if you remember, during the elections, they shut down internet in Zambia, right?
Yes.
It was the diaspora community that was pointing people where to go, how to go about things without internet.
Yes.
And I remember someone telling me that it was actually their first time hearing about VPN. It was the diaspora community.
It was actually my first time as well to hear about. I'm like, have these guys created their own social media platform or what?
Yes.
Yeah. In the previous government, there was no freedom of press. Media houses were oppressed, and people couldn't express their opinions. You say something, pray that the police don't find you. If the police doesn't find you, cadres will. So people were not talking, and it was people in the diaspora, including the USA, Canada communities that stood up to defend the values of our country and educating communities about what was going on in the political space and the need to remove the government that was poisonous to our. So our community having a structure like ours in the diaspora plays a very critical role in several ways, both in political, in the governance, and in the social space of our country.
Excellent.
Thank you. Just to add on, Mr. Moderator, just to add on that one. So I think there's synergy in having numbers like we do, because once we have this synergy, we create a win-win situation. We impacted the media space in Zambia, like the SG stated, because it was being stifled. But with the people out here, what freedom is, we were able to provide that space. Even to do some propaganda work, we did that a lot. And it impacted the people. They knew the truth. They listened to it, and they were like, "Wow, so this is great." So that's how relevant political structures outside the country can be. They can be impactful in terms of sending monies, and they can be impactful in terms of promoting media freedom and just allowing the people to see what we can do is really good.
Excellent. That sounds. It's interesting to hear you say about all these things that we were doing behind the scenes, influencing, advising, guiding, and making these things change. The critical question, one of the critical questions I'll ask you is that, with all this being said, all the financial contribution that you've been putting in, the party is now in power. What sort of checks and balances are you providing to your national leadership, including the president?
That's a really great question, Wankama. And our our chapter is very big on ensuring that we hold our leaders accountable for the promises that we gave to the people when we were campaigning to lead our country. So we recently took over from the previous executive, and both in the previous executive and in this executive, our goal and what we are working on is to engage ministers, to engage the president himself, and the grassroots structures, councillors, MPs, and see how we can synchronize the president's agenda and the promises, the heart that he has, to make sure that young people have decent jobs, the young people have quality education, there's good healthcare provision for our people in Zambia. So we are making efforts to engage the powers that would be according to the respective needs that are there. Yeah.
So let me just add on to that. Thank you, Mr. SG. So holding the party accountable, the president has said you should hold us accountable. So there are processes by which the party can be, or the government can be held accountable. So the difference now is that we were in the opposition, and now we are the ruling party. So there's the government, and then there's the party. So this group is a party structure. So we link up into the secretariat. So through the secretariat, we can hold the government responsible. Because remember, we are not a government. Our political party over here is not a government. So there's that line of separation. We cannot, like government, hold them accountable. So the people in the government, the ministers and whoever, are selected from the party structures. And so there are structures in there, like parliamentary committees and others. So we can definitely hold the government accountable through that structure. But we cannot, as a political party over here, tell the government what to do, because they do have processes by which lay down processes through cabinet and through other institutions. There's a judiciary, there are all these other institutions which we don't link up as a party. Our link is through the secretariat and then through other institutions. Then we can hold the president accountable through those institutions.
Okay, excellent.
And I just to add to that, and unlike what people in the opposition would want the general masses to think, that our president is a one-man stand person, he is actually a listening president. He's one person that would personally come to you and ask, what do you think of this? What's your view of this? And I think that's a great value in leadership. So our leadership is a listening leadership. And like Chia Chiombe has said, we are engaging our leaders through the relevant channels that are established through our party. You see, change is a process, and we must give ourselves the opportunity to enjoy that process. So we recently came from a very brutal regime, but with very tough situations to participate in the political space. Being a politician meant that you're aggressive, you are inapproachable, and all those things. But we are changing the narrative, and I think the Zambian people should be patient with us. We've only been in government for a year. Give us up to 2026. We will enjoy the peace that we are enjoying, the freedom of press, and a crop of leadership that listens and that is in sync with its people. So.
Awesome. Just a quick follow up on the same point raised, being as regards change being a process. So many Zambians are then now asking to say, how long should they wait? In as much as, yes, there's been a year now and it's a process. So should we give you, or rather the UPND, 5 years from now or 10 years for us to now say, okay, that process has come to an end now. These things and these things should be seen. So
I can chip in on that one. You know, I've
Okay, Mr.
changed
Chiombo.
for most of the work that I've done. So change management, change management can be difficult because we're dealing with the minds of the people, like the SG said. So what happened in the past is that a lot of things happened, and those were embedded in people's minds. They became the standards of operation. So there are things that can be changed quickly, and there are things that will take long to change. For example, economic change takes a long time because you have to implement a lot. You have to stabilize the economy. For example, we inherited a huge debt, and from that, it can be a little bit difficult to stabilize the economy and then to start creating jobs. If you remember, the president last week did allude to that fact that we have stabilized the economy and now we're moving into a different phase. So they are legislative processes which can affect change. As you've seen, I think the fight for corruption and all those things, it takes a long time because the institutions that are involved in that, the judiciary, the court systems, they all have to change. The mentality of the police has to change. The structure of the court, the way the court processes these cases has to be changed. Zambians were expecting like instant change. Some of the things cannot be instantly changed because we have people in those places. Some of them definitely need to be uprooted, but you need to follow a process. You cannot just uproot them like that. Then we are reverting back to dictatorial tendencies. Our president is not a dictator. He's methodical and he follows all these processes. So how do you strengthen the judiciary? How do you strengthen the police? The police was completely... My father was a policeman. And when I looked at what used to happen with the police in PF, you see a policeman drunk, staggering from one end to the other. I was like, if my father was here, he would really discipline that man. So we needed to discipline this institution, to give them the standards and the expectations. You cannot do this. This is how you do your work. So that's the police. They needed to be reformed. The judiciary needed some reform. There are other institutions that needed some reform. So changing those institutions, because it's really embedded, can be a little bit difficult. You need the processes, you have through parliament, and then you are removing these people slowly by slowly. Look at the cases that needed to be taken to court. The DPP has to sign off them. And if the DPP does not sign off them, it's stuck over there. Despite what the people are expecting, what the president is expecting, it is stuck. And then so the fight against corruption and all these can be negatively impacted. So definitely I do hear that people want change and they've been complaining, but change is coming. I think the president has moved in some of these areas to effect a change, and economic change is coming. People were used to having money from dues and stuff like that, but that has to change too. The behavior has to change.
I can add to that, and just I think it is important to acknowledge the great work that the UPND has done in the last 1 year. And the question that you asked, Vakasolo, is a very great question. It is important to acknowledge that in as much as there was a lot of things that were promised, some of those things have been achieved. I said earlier that we're coming from a very brutal regime. Now we have peace. You would have people like Wachirufya Tayadi all over the place talking about the president, and he goes scot-free, you know. We have the freedom to come to media houses. You can walk into Radio Ichengelo and host your interview as an opposition, and no cadre will run on you.
Yes.
We wanted free education. Our children are going to school for free. You know, students cried for meal allowances. Meal allowances are being regulated. Come January, students will start receiving their meal allowances. There's a lot of these things that have happened, but because we are expecting a lot of things to happen at the same time, so it looks like there's nothing going on. And like our president said when he just took over power, that his leadership is methodical. We inherited a huge debt that needs to be paid back. Somebody has to pay back that debt at one point or the other. So in the first year, we had to stabilize the economy, first of all, and then move on to other issues. So in the first year, we stabilized the economy. The dollar is not moving from 20 kwacha per dollar to 15 kwacha per dollar within hours. It's quite stable, you know, and the economy is coming together. So in the coming year, then we move on to deal with other things. At the end of 5 years, we'll see a huge change in the way things are done. So I think at this point, my message to the general public would be, please be patient. Be patient. The president is up to good for us. He means well for us, and change is coming, and it has already started happening, and we are able to see these things.
Thank you. Just to add on before we move further, I know the expectations were high, and people expected like just flip on the switch and everything moves from darkness to light. Unfortunately, economics doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, change, it doesn't work that way. So that's why we're here as a chapter to assist the government, to assist our party over there, explain some of these things. So we are here that we will be able to explain some of these things, how change works. For example, talking about 2.8 million people, how many were employed, how many were not employed? People expected the following day that employment would just be like right there. Of course, the capacity to absorb that many people was not there. And so you have to start by stabilizing the economy and then growing the economy. Once you start growing the economy, then you create capacity to start absorbing the excess numbers in the people, to start reducing unemployment levels.
Okay, Mr. K.
Like my colleague was saying, change has started in many areas, but of course, people want to see money in their pocket. Probably that's when you talk about change, there are several areas, and so there are areas that people are looking for quick turnaround. So what are those areas? Those are the areas that we want to focus on as a party, where people are looking for just quick turnaround. Because like I said earlier on, some of this change has to be legislative. It has to go through a process which can be lengthy, and it might take time. But there are areas, low-hanging fruits. Mamope alluded to those. The president has quickly effected those, but there are areas that can quickly affect maybe 1 million people, 2 million people, and that's what they're looking for. So he's working on that. We'll give him time.
Okay, well said. So now that we have established a number of issues and all, what is your vision and what activities should the membership, including the community, expect from your leadership?
Do you want to take that one?
I missed. Can you repeat that one? Yes.
Yeah. So what is especially from this point on now, that you are now in government as the UPND. So now, sorry, as you, what is your vision? What are some of the activities that should be expected by the community from your leadership?
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that question. Really, really important question, touching on the important tenets, objectives that we intend to implement. We have moved from a dispensation where we were in the opposition. So we have moved into a new dispensation where we are in government. Our party is in government. And so we do have these structures. One of the structure is the UPND US Canada chapter, which is very, very influential. Number one, part of our vision is we are deriving our vision from the 10 points of the UPND manifesto. Number one for us is investment, entrepreneurship. So how does that affect or impact the Zambians? So what we want to do, because we are in the diaspora, we want to redefine this person in the diaspora. Because we know who this person is in the diaspora. We know their capabilities. We know what they can do. We know their influence. And because we are in the diaspora, we want to tap into investment. We want to link investment opportunities from abroad into our economy through the structures that are laid down. So that's very, very important. We bring investment in several areas. The SG will allude to that later when I'm done. So we bring investment in several selected areas. We collaborate with the party structures. There are selected areas that we can quickly impact. So how does that our country? So it helps our country because through that we can create small-scale businesses. Entrepreneurship. Our president is huge on that. And thereby we'll be helping our country create jobs. So that's very important. We are growing the base. When we grow the employment base, of course, the government has a huge base where they can collect taxes. And that funds the budget. For example, when Dr. Msogotwani is moving next year to talk about the budget, we have impacted that because now we're not borrowing as much. We are funding our own budget from the taxes. So that's really, really huge. We want to impact the youth with that. We want to impact the women, empower them through entrepreneurship so that they can start small-scale businesses. That's very, very important. It's really huge. So that's one of them. The other one is we want to grow membership over here. Like I said earlier on, I said we do have several people in the diaspora who are UPND card-carrying members, but they are not part of the group. So we want to harness that population, bring them together. Once we have this huge group, these people are talented. These people have resources. They can tap into other resources, which then we can use to reach out in our country over there. So growing our base here is also important. We do have several people with various talents, and those talents can be used to impact the community in Zambia. So, Mr. Mwape, maybe you can add more before
before Mr. Mwape adds on to that. Let me throw in this question to the two of you. You've talked about, I like the point on investment and entrepreneurship and empowering the community. We're talking about the diaspora generally. There's somebody listening to this in California, somebody listening to this in Atlanta, and they're like, so it sounds like I need to be part of UPND to benefit from some of these programs. Can you clarify on that? How does it work? You know the way our minds work. So some of these things, I can only benefit if I'm a UPND member, not as generally as a Zambian. Just clarify that part.
I can respond to that. I think Chair alluded to the fact that we are coming from the opposition.
Yes.
So our mandate then was more political than anything else. Our mandate was to make sure that we take our president to State House and we get in government. Now that we are in government, our mandate is less political and more on unifying and taking the developments that we are enjoying in the diaspora back home to Zambia. So what is our agenda moving forward then is that beyond the politics, beyond our differences, our chapter is up to unifying the diaspora community, bringing ourselves together, whether you are UPND, you are not UPND, as long as you love Zambia, you're welcome to go on this ride with us. And what we are saying is that we'll bring together these communities, identify investment opportunities in Zambia in various sectors, in the energy sector, in the green economy sector, in agriculture, in various sectors, identify these businesses that we can go in, boost these businesses up, and provide quality employment to our people back home. So that's our direction. So don't feel that because you are PF, you are PNUP, then you don't qualify to work with us. We are open to working with anyone. In fact, one of the strengths that we hope to build in the next 2 years is our strengths on partnerships. We are going to build partnerships with international communities, both Zambian international communities, international communities that are not Zambians, organizations that are working in Zambia, and create these partnerships and see how we can work together to advance the cause of development in Zambia. So I think the key point here is that we were in opposition. Our mandate was to win elections. Right now, our mandate is to assist government to deliver development to the people of Zambia. That is very important to mention, I think. Chair,
thank you. Just to add on. Just to add on what the SG said. I mean, addressing the questions that are coming up, like the SG said, people don't have to belong to other party, but I think they must agree to the vision, because if they have to take part, this is the vision that we have. And we do have independent MPs in Zambia who are working, who have agreed, and they're saying the vision of the Upnd government is really good. So the vision is the driving factor. Is the driving factor. So some of the things that we probably want to do, let me say not probably, what we want to do is we want to form some of these committees, like think tanks. When we form think tanks on education, on healthcare, on technology, on human services, on and a lot of these things, when we form them, people can join, okay? People can join, but these think tanks or organizations or teams that we have, we are in the driver's seat. People can join, they can participate, they can work with us, but we are in the driver's seat. This is the vision. They can join us, bring all the resources, and that's what we want, because like I said earlier on, there's a lot of talent out here. There's a lot of, we want to harness that talent so that Mother Zambia, if somebody is not Mother impacted, Mother Zambia is growing economically, the people are being impacted, that's our goal. At the end of the day, we will say that this chapter impacted Zambia in this meaningful way.
Excellent, excellent.
I can add to that as well, that
yes, and
of course we want to take that dimension, but that's not going to change the fact that we are a political party.
That's right.
And we have oncoming elections in 2026 that we are working towards. So some of the things that we hope to attend, like the previous question where you asked for how long should we wait. I think that question is coming from a place where there's some pieces of missing information that the general public may be missing, maybe because of miscommunication or lack of efficient communication from the organs that may be. So one of the things that we hope to do, that we plan to do as a chapter moving forward, is coming to platforms like this and creating awareness, helping people to understand what is going on, helping people to drive that mindset that we talked about. Because remember, the PF was in power from 2011 to 2021. That's a long time.
Yes.
To change a mindset. And some of the people that we are referring to as young people, it is the only government that they had known. So the only kind of politics that they were accustomed to was the politics of handouts, So our chapter will help to raise awareness, educate people on that. We also plan to help government on implementing some of the initiatives that we brought. The decentralization of CDF, which is a very complicated issues, seemingly on the ground, especially on the constituency level. It appears most constituencies were not ready to handle CDF at the time when it was reaching them. And even the people themselves, the beneficiaries, people are oblivious to what they are supposed to do with it. How do you apply? They send out call for applications. People are sending applications that are incompliant to what they are looking for. So the money ends up going back to Treasury. And, we will help in that sense, that bring together these communities, like Chair Chiyombwe has said, work with MPs in respective constituencies, and raise this awareness, educate people on how to go about CDF. If they don't have the capacity to write a business proposal, we have members here in the diaspora that will offer their services free of charge. Bring these communities together, offer those online services to people. We have about 64% in Parliament currently. Our mandate by 2026 is to ensure at least a two-third of majority in the general in Parliament. So what that means is that we have to work with the grassroots structures. We have to engage, like Chair Chiomba said, bring together MPs that are willing to work with us and support them in their cause. Come 2026, after the 2026 elections, we're expecting to get a 2/3 majority in Parliament.
All right, hard work.
We come up with an agenda and it goes to Parliament. We expect it to pass because we have a majority in Parliament. So
Yes,
that's
excellent.
Some of the things that
okay, there's a question here, and let me first of all just put up this what Madam Joyce is also making a contribution here. She says this chapter will work with ZANUS and other Zambian associations. All right, so you are engaging the associations in the diaspora, I presume.
right.
And all those groups. That's Madam Joyce is making that contribution. Thank you, my sister. There's a question here from one of our dear friends. What happened, or what's the plan, and where are the bicycles that were bought and handed over to the president?
So I can answer that one. So 2021, running up to the 2021 elections, we had a bicycle campaign, which went well. We purchased the bicycles, and those were supposed to be given to the secretary, to the president, so that he could distribute accordingly to the need out there.
Yes.
So our project, that's a project. When you're running a project, it has a beginning of its life and end of its life. So for our part over here, the beginning of that project was to raise the funds, number one, raise the awareness for the people, give them the goals. These are the goals. This is why we need bicycles, what have you. And we did that. We achieved that. We raised some funds. Of course, we didn't meet the goal. I think we just fell short by probably 3 bicycles. So we bought these bicycles in Lusaka. We bought the bicycles, and then they were distributed. There's a video. We do have a video. They were distributed to Lusaka, given to the president by our honorable past chair, Dr. Ziambo. So from our end, the project comes to an end. We buy the bicycles, we distribute them, we hand over the other party on the other side. So once they take over, they are distributing to areas of need which they have identified. Remember, that's our scope. We are not in Zambia, but we do have the party structures in Zambia, and they have seen the need. The Secretariat has seen the need, and they take over. So
okay, Mr. Chiombo's wife.
Bicycles, the Secretariat hands over the bicycles, and they distribute for campaign. So the Secretariat then are responsible for what happened to those bicycles. From our end, we definitely we hold Secretariat accountable to what they did, and then they have their own part of the project to fulfill and make sure that these bicycles reach the intended targets. So from here, we don't follow up like, where is this bicycle number 10? Where is it? We don't really follow up.
Well, I guess that's clear. Even Ms. Joyce has made it clear there that the Secretariat handles the equipment. Let's conclude with this. As when we were coming on the show, there was some breaking news last night. Mr. Chiombo, your predecessor has been appointed deputy. What is the actual position? Everybody, all of us know Mr. Chiombo was recently elected as chairperson. He took over Mr. Willis Musonda, and Musonda has been appointed as.
Yeah. So it was a breaking news.
Yes.
Last night. When the president came to the gala in September, in passing, he made a comment that some of you some of you people here in the diaspora will be appointed. And so there was great anticipation. Who is this person? Who is this person? A lot of questions going on. And so last night I received a call from my friend, Mr. Musonda. He was saying, but chair, it happened. I'm like, what happened? And so he goes on to say, oh, I received the appointment letter. I'm going to DRC as Vice Consul General of the Republic of Zambia.
What does that mean? Deputy Ambassador? Is that what it means?
You know, I cannot really, I'm not sure if it's the ambassadorial position.
Some of these, I'm a titles.
I wish he was here.
Make it simple.
Okay, I wish he was here to tell us exactly.
Here is the thing, Andrew and by Evans. The president said one of you, but we've had more than one appointment. Rebecca in Florida is going to Turkey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I must say that for both appointments, they are really great appointments. These are highly qualified people that and these appointments, if you know President HH, they're not appointments that are made because of political affiliation. These are highly qualified people that are offering their themselves to serve our country in those respective. So as a chapter, we wish to publicly congratulate them.
Okay. Yeah, they are hearty congratulations. I'm very happy and proud for Musonda, my big brother. Very happy for Becky. I've always said this chapter here was responsible for the damage that was done to PF. That's what I say.
Yeah, we did a lot. Some of the things.
I know. I mean, it has never been seen before what was done. I have personal friends who literally laid their lives down for that election and everything else. Well, gentlemen, we are
taking it to the next level, moderator.
Once PF wins elections in 2021, some people in the chapter were told never to step their foot in Zambia.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
PF even reached out over here to threaten people. And that just gave us the motivation to fight back. Just do the right thing. And for all these people that have been appointed by Chair Musonda and Sister Rebecca, congratulations. Congratulations. And congratulations to the appointing authority. They have definitely identified the talent that is here. There's more talent. There's more talent.
Excellent. The purpose of this discussion was to enlighten and to let the community know the new U.S. Canada diaspora leadership in place, so that we know how things are happening and the work that the party is doing in the community. Well, coming up is World Cup Roundup. By the way, Morocco has scored. They are leading by 1-0. So,
oh wow, go Morocco!
Yes. Yeah. So Chomba and the others, they'll be joining me up here for a World Cup Roundup. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our show. Mr. Evans Chiombwe, the chairman, the recently elected chairman, and Andrew Mwape, the Secretary General for Upnd US chapter. Thank you, gentlemen, and have a great weekend.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Looking forward to the next
opportunity. Yes. Let's do this many times.
We really appreciate. Thank you.
All right. Yeah.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
All right, World Cup Roundup. Mr. K, Chomba, where are you? Guys, let's just do a brief one here, and then we shall be go back and enjoy the game. I believe Morocco has scored, and the game is 1-0. That's what is happening. Let's see what we can do here. If Chomba is available to join me. I hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup. That was UPND leadership joining us here to talk about their work and everything else. Mr. K, I'm waiting for Chomba here to join me to have a discussion on this, or else we can all just go home and have a break. All right. So Morocco is leading 1-0. Brazil is out. Netherlands is out. What else? A lot of these giant teams have dropped out. So I don't know. This World Cup is all right. Here comes Chomba. I'm looking for the. Hey, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you, Uncle Nathan?
A lot of surprises, upsets, and the hearts broken. Eh? Chomba,
This World Cup.
Tell me one thing. What is it about
Yes.
Africans and the Brazil team? They are not your relatives. What's your problem?
Well, I wish I had a very good answer for that one, huh?
Okay, let's do this. We'll make it quick, just 10, 15 minutes, and then we go and enjoy the Morocco-Portugal game. Tell me how you looked at okay, we came from the knockout stage, 16 teams. Now we are even in the is it semifinals? Is it quarterfinals? Quarterfinals.
We are now in the quarterfinals.
We are now in the quarterfinals. Tell me, Chomba, what are the the major surprises for you where we are right now?
Where we are right now, obviously, yesterday Brazil being knocked out of Croatia was a surprise. Yeah, of course, definitely, with all due respect to Croatia, they're a very decent team. But looking at, definitely. But looking at how Brazil has been playing from the group stages before they had qualified, I think the only game where they had stepped their foot off the gas was on the third game of the group stages, which they played against Brazil. And by then they had already qualified, so they didn't field in their usual starting 11. So they've really been a very strong team, and they looked like they're the favorites to get the cup. But yesterday, Croatia did something else.
I remember saying, when people were making the comments what do you call it? About Croatia. I remember one point when we had Ponga Liwewe a few years ago when we said some of these teams are not supposed to. No, you can't say that. Every team to reach at this stage, they have worked for it, Chomba.
Yeah.
They have worked for it. And the other thing is to use a Zambian cliche, I look at Croatia like power dynamos. When power dynamos came on the scene, do you know what they were called? Giant killers. That's what power dynamos. They were dangerous and they were causing terrible upsets. And so Brazil is out.
Yeah.
Spain is out.
Spain is out, and Spain was knocked out by an African team.
Which is playing right now. I'm on the show. I can see what is going on right now. African team.
Which is playing right now, and it is leading. Portugal is down. Last time I checked.
Yeah, Portugal is down. I hope it ends that way.
I hope so too. Meaning we are going to get Morocco is going to do 2 consecutive upsets, because when they were facing Spain, obviously the majority had written Morocco off, saying
of course,
Spain.
You could even hear the commentary. It's like Morocco is just there on a ride. They don't even know how they found
Exactly.
themselves here. I'm like, how can you be so stupid to make a comment like that? You know? And then they cause
Yeah.
that upset and everything else. Oh my goodness me. The thing is this, what do you think of the England-France matchup?
Oof, that's a tough one, huh? On paper, you'd
Mm-hmm.
want to side with France, looking at how excellent they've been from the group stages to the round of 16 and to the quarterfinals where they are. I think
Yes.
they've had a more convincing run than England. But again, when you look at the English camp,
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
having quality players, and if they put it in their last gear, we should be there for a very good show. But like I said, on paper, I think France is looking to have an advantage.
Mm. Okay, interesting. Well, and everybody, that Mbappe chap is something else, eh? The-
Mbappe, right now, Mbappe is running the show because he is. I think right now he's in front with in the
Golden Boot.
Golden Boot race.
How many goals has he scored?
He's having 5.
5, okay.
Mhm.
I hope he gets it. Hope he can score more goals and
Yeah,
uh,
I hope so too. I think France is looking solid from the back into the midfield to the front.
mm,
They're looking
yes, they are.
balanced.
They look like they came to play. They look like they came to play. And
Yeah, definitely.
one thing is that let the for me, as things stands right now, apart from Mbappe, the two goalkeepers, Morocco goalkeeper and the Croatia goalkeeper. Oh my goodness, that Morocco goalkeeper! How can you just stop shots like that?
Yeah, I think for me he is the goalkeeper of the tournament
He's the
because
goalkeeper. They need to introduce an award for goalkeeper of the tournament. Don't you think
yeah,
so?
definitely. If we had such an award, for me, he should be the recipient. I mean, in a penalty shootout,
Uh-huh.
how how do you have a result of 3-0?
Imagine.
It's ridiculous. It's very
I
ridiculous.
said to myself, this guy is crazy. Mwana wa Kalamba.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Again, even away from the penalties, when you look at the saves that he has made and his
Mm-hmm.
his record right now, I think he's having a good number of clean sheets. I think Morocco has only conceded once
Yes,
the entire
that's the
tournament.
other thing. That's the other thing. A lot of people do not realize that Morocco has not conceded any goals. One goal, right?
Yeah, yeah, just
Uh-huh.
one goal.
Yeah, that
And
speaks volumes.
that one goal is coming after 5 games. They've only conceded one goal.
After 5 games. And you
Yeah,
see,
after
the other
five
thing,
games.
Chomba, that I also realized is these guys can play defense. They've got a very solid defense. Just shutting down a team like that, you
Yeah,
know?
their defense is nicely it is in place because when you look at their last game in the round of
Mhm.
16 when they faced Spain had all the possession they can have in the world, and they tried to break through with their nice neat passes. Sometimes they were even changing tempos. They could even make those quick passes to catch the defense out, but
Mhm.
that defensive line was very well structured and it was very disciplined. And
Mhm.
even away from the Spanish attack, when you look at the games that they've played, remember these
Yes.
guys met Croatia in
Yeah.
their group. Croatia couldn't penetrate. With the mighty Modric who can do that defensive splitting pass. That's how disciplined these guys are.
Yeah. 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 Now, even though the Netherlands lost yesterday to Argentina, how about those classic goals in the extra time or added time to the 90 minutes? How about those classic goals, Chomba? You know, and you see, Argentina made the same mistake that Brazil made. They relaxed because they felt it was over, it was closed, it was done. They were, of course, they've moved on, but teams need to be careful with celebrating before, like Asanda said the last time, ball and 90 minutes, right? Until the final whistle is blown.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true, Uncle Nathan. I mean, we at 2-0 up, and you are in the 80th minute, heading into the 90th minute.
Yes.
We all thought it's game over for Netherlands.
Game over for the Netherlands.
It's game over. Then you get 2 quick goals. Out of nowhere, it's 2-2, and it's game on. You go into the extra time. At that point, I thought it was going to be Netherlands Day, and unfortunately, they couldn't make it out of the penalty shootout. But I think it should be a very good lessons to the remaining teams going forward. Once you are in a tight game and you are 1-0 up, it's a sign to turn on. Don't switch off. Turn on. Be disciplined as you can defensively. Take the ball keep taking the ball to them, like they say. Sometimes the best way to defend is to attack. Kill the time as you are taking the ball to them.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That's very true. Interesting. Well, so today we have 2 games. One is going on right now, and the other one will be coming up. Actually, it's a good. I want to watch Morocco, but I really want to see what the outcome is going to be between England and France. That's blood. That's a blood game. Bloody game.
It will be bloody. It will be a bloodbath.
Because what's his name? How do you say his name? Ken. Is that the way you say the name?
Yes, Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. I think he's looking. Harry Kane, I put him in the same category as Messi. I think if they don't do it now, if they don't get it now,
yeah, no, this is his time, because right now, the last time I checked, he turned 29. I'm not sure if he'll be 30 this year or next year. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he turned 29, his last birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, so if we are going to say 29 plus 4, the next World Cup, when he's in his early 30s, we have no idea how his form is going to be.
It's true.
Definitely, this is Harry Kane's chance. I sometimes I feel sorry for him, because he's a top striker who has not accumulated trophies to show for it. This is a guy who scores 20 plus goals every season in the English Premier League.
Oh, wow.
But he has not accumulated any trophies
to show for it. He has nothing to show for it.
Exactly. But looking at the youngsters that are surrounding him, when you look at Saka on this side, you have Raheem Sterling, though right now Raheem Sterling is not with them in camp. Possibly, maybe we are going to have Phil Foden on the other side. These are 2 very fast, tricky guys who are going to supply him. And if England is going to use its flanks with the pace that they have in Saka and Phil Foden, they do stand a chance to hit France.
Wow. Okay. But Messi, this is his last World Cup, right? Unless he can be another Roger Miller who plays at 40 years old. Messi is 35. Is it 34, 35?
Messi should be 35, Ronaldo 37.
We're not cheap one.
We won't have another Roger Miller
when I listen to the commentaries, these are some of the things that I pay attention to. They said, next World Cup is 4 years from now. So if Messi is 34, you'll be 38, or if it's 35, then you'll be 39. That's what I'm saying. Unless it's going to be another Roger Miller. Roger Miller played for Cameroon was that 40 years old or whatever? Yeah. So anyway, that's so today's games will determine who goes into the semifinals, right? There are no games tomorrow. Are there any games tomorrow? No.
No, so today's games are the last ones to show the outcome of who faces who in the semi-finals, which will be next week on Tuesday.
Okay. Tuesday and then Wednesday. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Chomba, thank you. And let's enjoy the day. Let's enjoy the games. And
thank you so.
Thanks for taking the time. Hope we'll connect next weekend as we talk about. I think it will be third and fourth place and the final, right? Next week.
Yeah, next week we'll have the third, fourth playoffs. Then we'll have the finale.
yeah, Peter Blanc. Just like that, it's gone. The 1 month is gone. Eh?
Just like that, and you know something I'm really impressed about in this World Cup is I think right now it has really delivered.
Yes,
look at the upsets, look at the quality of football, the goals and everything. So far so good. It has really lived up to the up to whatever these guys had invested in.
Yeah, it has without a doubt. All right, everybody, that was our show today. We had the US Canada Upnd chapter leadership, the newly elected people sharing with us their vision and the work of the importance of the diaspora engaging with political parties back home. And then Chomba Mwansa joining me on World Cup Roundup. Okay, Chomba, have a great weekend. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you next weekend, everybody.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.